The Joes are playing war games, despite the obvious absence of Matthew Broderick or Ali Sheedy. If you don't get that reference, ask your parents, and then ask them why they told you about this cartoon from 1983, but not about that awesome movie from the same year. We learn that Duke's radio call sign is Leader Joe, which is probably the most interesting thing about him so far. Meanwhile, Cobra Commander is lurking in a nearby submarine while Destro complains that he's bored. Dude, we're 35 seconds into the episode. Give it a minute, would you? Then a bunch of generals and admirals stand around talking about how great G.I. Joe is, and how we should all be proud to own as many action figures, vehicles, and playsets as our parents can afford. Great, now I'm with Destro. This is boring. Then this happens.
Come on, dollface. I know a little cafe in port where the spaghetti is great and the lights are dim. Let's you and I get together after...
Let's not!
Ah, Shipwreck, don't be that guy. Wild Bill is just sitting on the carrier deck playing with a gun, like the elite, highly trained professional soldier that he is. Cobra Commander reveals this week's master plan, a conspiracy involving synthoids. I get it now. Synthoids are apparently perfect duplicates of human beings, because I guess Zartan and the Baroness both being undetectable disguise artists wasn't good enough? Now we need lumps of animated goo to bolster their pretending to be bureaucrats efforts, which, in fairness, is the basis of like 65% of their plans. The war games start, and man, if there's one thing more exciting than a bunch of missiles and lasers, it's when the outcome of the battle doesn't even matter to the plot. Then the Dreadnoks show up, and at least now we're back to the usual everyone shoots at one another for a while status quo. Then Zartan takes out those harumphing old officer dudes with his fart cloud gun, and a Dreadnought cuts Duke's parachute with a chainsaw, which, okay, that's pretty cool actually. Thankfully he had a scuba guy and some kind of underwater spaceman looking out for him. While the Joes are fighting with Cobra, Zartan sneaks the replacement synthoid versions of those old white dudes aboard. Oh, so the attack was a diversion. Pretty sneaky, sis. Hopefully they'll stop doing this before anyone notices, though.
Hail Cobra! Hail Cobra!
The newly replaced synthoid colonel yells at Duke, telling him that nobody would want to buy his action figure, much less associated vehicles or playsets. Duke is understandably filled with shame. Then Cobra Commander dials up a synthoid Destro to demonstrate, then immediately destroys it. They also conveniently telegraph how the synthoids will inevitably be defeated, probably in part 2. I guess this was meant to show how Destro can be replaced, but I doubt a mindless copy that looks like Destro could sell weapons to Cobra very effectively, but what do I know? Meanwhile, at a funding meeting, the synthoids recommend that the president stop paying for action figures, vehicles, and playsets. It also means that a chunk of this children's action cartoon takes place in a budgetary committee meeting. A real American hero! So now the secret army men can't afford bullets or jet fuel. Which, okay, they do need those things to function, but maybe you could move some of your existing funds around? Maybe lose the tank that shoots bridges or the 7 different kinds of snowmobile? Or you could have guys like Shipwreck, Mutt, and Snake Eyes buy their own pet food instead of expecting the taxpayer to foot the bill. Or you could stop paying to train every member of the team to pilot every vehicle in your massive inventory. I'm just spitballing here. Then Cobra shows up.
Cobra air attack! Coming in fast!
Man, they even cut Roadblock's rhyming budget. Times are tough. Then Zartan shoots Duke with the old fart cloud gun and replaces him with a synthoid. But don't worry, with a dynamic personality like old Leader Joe, it's only a matter of time before his teammates discover the deception. Then one of the synthoid generals shows up, shuts down G.I. Joe, and tries to kill a dog. Will any of this actually happen? Of course not. But you still have to wait till the exciting conclusion to find out how it doesn't happen.